Greetings, Bat Family, and welcome to Holy BatCast, brought to you by real fans for real movies. You can find us all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you'll find us. If you're a big fan of the show and you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. As always, no pressure. It's all good. We do the show for free. But for those of you who've taken that extra step, I just want you to know it means a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you to all our patrons. You guys are awesome. We're part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out those shows at rf4rm.com. And as always, I'm your Bat host, Andy DiGenova. You can find me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. It's always just my name, Andy DiGenova. This episode, it's been a couple weeks, which, it happens, but we're going to talk a little bit of Batman. We're going to talk a little bit of Superman. First, we're going to talk some sad news because we lost a Batman. Then we're going to talk about the sneak peek we got of Superman this week. And then, as always, we'll wrap up with some emails because those have been piling up. See how we do on those. And joining me for all that fun and more, you know him, you love him. It's been a couple weeks for him too, at least. But he's back. It's Brendan Lowe. Hey, Brendan.
Morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm surviving.
Aren't we all?
Had a rough week, but I'm getting there. I'm on the mend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was sick a couple weeks ago and I stopped being sick after like 2 days, which was fine, but the cough lingered.
Oh, I hate that lingering cough.
And
like weeks.
Yeah. And then my voice just, it's been recovering and it's still not 100%. It's like good enough to do this tonight, but yeah, it just, that's part of the reason it's been a couple weeks because I wanted to get my voice rested. And at the same time, I just, in my real life, in my work, things are very, very crazy with work right now. And so, yeah, I just had to take a couple weeks off and now we're back.
If it doesn't get better, I've got a trick I can show you with some honey.
Okay, great. Love it. I'm sure you do. But it's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, so we got big Batman news and big Superman news. One is sad, one is happy. What are you going to do? In that life, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have
the facts of fucking life, Murray.
Okay, all right. I didn't know if you knew the song or not, but I'm proud.
I know it because of the Goldbergs.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, that'll work, but
yeah.
80s kids were with me. Anyone else? Sorry about that. Look it up. It's a great theme song. Not as good as Perfect Strangers, but pretty darn good.
What is?
Nothing. Anyway, yeah, I figure let's start off on the sad note. Then we can talk happy note. And then we'll see emails, which will be a grab bag of sad and happy, I'm sure.
Yeah, possibly.
As they tend to be. So this past week, we had a loss. And I don't want to say it was entirely unexpected, but I think we all assumed we had a little more time. And that is we lost Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
And, we know that his health has not been the best for the past few years. That has not been a secret. He's been pretty public with his battle with throat cancer and everything. But yeah, I mean, even though he wasn't doing great, I figured, he wasn't going anywhere. And unfortunately, he did pass away earlier this week. And so much like we did with Adam West and Kevin Conroy, it's only appropriate that we pay homage to one of our Batmen who is now going off to the big bat cave in the sky.
Yeah. No, it was very sad. And yeah, you're right about his health. Like, it was no secret that he'd been unwell for quite a while. But I'd never watched the doco that came out in like 2021 on Prime, the Val doco. Did you watch that?
I never did either. No. Like, I remember, I think it was his autobiography that came out. I remember us chatting about that on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been around the same time, but no, I never watched the documentary.
I watched it the other afternoon, just because I knew we were going to, like, at that stage, I knew we were going to be doing this episode and everything. So it's like, I should probably do a little, a bit of research as opposed to just like, gushing about how much I loved Batman Forever as a kid. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard him speak. And that was a real, I mean, the doco is what, 3-4 years old, but that was a real shock. Like, I didn't realize that, it was as bad as it was. So yeah, it's very sad, but I think he'd had a rough go of it the last decade or so. But
Mm.
he was still out there doing his thing, doing his art, being kooky, and meeting fans, and yeah. But no, it's never good to lose a Batman, and this one just happened to be my first big screen Batman, and the Batman from the favorite movie of my childhood.
Yeah, I mean you said it perfectly in that he had a tough go the past decade or so, and that sucks because man, I mean that's the cancer. It's a crapshoot. You just don't know who it's gonna get and when, and yeah, unfortunately it he'd been fighting it and he got it young and it really took its toll. So that is yeah, it's really sad. And he was one of our Batman, and we haven't had to say goodbye to too many, and when we said goodbye
Mhm.
to Adam West, it was somewhat again, I don't know what expected is the right word, but he was in his 80s at least. So it's like
Yeah,
it
but he
wasn't
didn't
a
seem to be in
shock.
poor health. Like um,
Yeah, yeah, it seemed
Adam,
like it
Adam and
happened quick.
Kevin. I mean, Kevin had been very unwell too, but kept it private. So it
Right,
was it
right.
was a shock. And Kevin wasn't exactly elderly either.
That's
Um,
true. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, this one wasn't as shocking because we knew about the poor health, but it did sort of, on one hand, wasn't expected, but didn't come from nowhere. But on the other hand, it was like, oh shit, this sort of came from nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because again, like he was in poor health, but he didn't seem terminal. It seemed like he was trucking along. So
And it
you
was
just,
pneumonia in the end, and
yeah.
and I mean, you do hear that quite a bit too, and people have got compromised health and everything. Like a cold can turn into a flu and to
Hmm.
pneumonia, and it doesn't take much, unfortunately. And yeah, it was pneumonia in the end that took him from us.
Yeah. And I mean, I woke up to the news. I had a text from my old pals Brian and Jamie Magoo from when we used to do the Batman universe. So I saw that, and then I saw you. We have a group chat with Joe and Eric and Jamie, and you were like, Val Kilmer died. It was like that was it. I was like, oh well, good morning to you too, Brendan.
Well, this was not to make a joke out of it, but it was such a rarity for a big celebrity death to occur when I was awake. Normally, I'm the one waking up to the terrible news.
Mm.
But it was like, mid afternoon Australian time when it broke. And yeah, it was like, I did have that thought of just like, wow, it's not very often I'm the one breaking the news to the group chat that, something terrible's happened. So yeah, it was weirdly a nice change to not be the one waking up to it.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's I was like, wow, I did not expect that. And I think it's worth noting that it's Val Kilmer had a very impressive career.
He
He did
did.
a lot. He had a lot of really, I think, iconic roles in his career. He was incredibly talented. So you think about the things that he did, Top Gun, Tombstone, The Doors, right? Like he did a lot of very notable
Mhm.
things in his career. Batman was just one of many. And yet every headline was a Batman.
I mean, you play Batman once, you're Batman. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like every Bond actor, or every I mean, what are the other sort of the big ones, the big iconic ones? Like you get that role. Superman will be the same.
Hmm. Hmm.
Spider Man. You
Yeah.
get that role. It's with you forever. It's never going to come off, and it'll always rise to the top. Whether it be good news or bad news. It's Batman actor, and for better or
Yeah.
for worse.
Yeah, it's just I mean, yeah, I just thought it was an interesting thing and not good, not bad, just is what it is that for such an impressive career that he played Batman one time
Mhm.
in not the most beloved Batman movie. Let's just say that. That's no shade, like it
No,
has
no.
its fans, but it's
Oh, dude,
certainly
I'm
not.
I'm a realist. I know that.
Yeah, it's certainly not, the Dark Knight trilogy or whatever. But still, like to play Batman in one of the lesser loved Batman movies, and still every headline is Batman. Val Kilmer has passed. Um, like you said, it goes to show just the strength of that character, and being tied to that character forever. And I mean, in my opinion, I think it's a gift because actors already flirt with immortality because, hey, like when
Mm-hmm.
your face and your voice is on a movie, that movie will hopefully last as long as the planet will, right? So people will be watching that movie in 100 years, hopefully, and you get some sense of immortality with that. But when you're Batman, it's a whole nother level
Yes.
of that recognition. And I very few have gotten to do it, and it just goes to show that Val will be remembered forever, hopefully for his entire body of work. But if you're Batman, you know that people are going to be watching you forever.
Mm-hmm. And it was the other morning to like the day after the news broke over here. And I'd been unwell this week, so I wasn't working, and I sort of was bedridden for some of it. And on Thursday morning, I thought, I've never actually watched Val in a full blown comedy before. Like I've never delved like deep into his filmography. Like I've seen the big ones, but I think the closest to like comedy I've seen was like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Which is so damn good, by the
It's
way.
great, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the free streamers over here has currently Real Genius on it, and I'd never seen it. So I watched that on Thursday morning, and like I've ever sort of only really seen him play dry and serious. And I mean, obviously he was very young in Real Genius, but like he's like full blown comedic acting, and he was great. Like I
Mhm.
was surprised at how genuinely funny he was. So that was a nice surprise too, and like even just seeing like in the Val doco and stuff, I think him as a person, he's you know a bit of a a dope, a fool. Like he would, a lot of practical jokes and messing around and doing stuff for laughs, which is a side of Val that until this week I hadn't seen. So that
Mhm.
was nice too.
I think he was definitely he had all the range, right? He could do
Hmm.
dramatic, he could do comedic, he could do popcorn movies, he could do dramas, he could do it all, and he did do it all. And I think that speaks to his level of talent. I remember watching Real Genius as a kid and thinking it was hysterical. That's the one where they like put the voice through the braces, right, and pretend to be
Yes.
God. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it probably since the '80s, but my God, we thought it was hilarious when we were younger. Top Secret is another one that's just ridiculous but funny.
I haven't
Um,
seen that. That's kind of sort of like a Naked Gun
yes,
esque type movie, isn't it? Yeah.
yes, very Airplane, very Naked Gun, just complete nonsense. But
Yeah.
that's another one. Um, for me, it's Tombstone.
Yeah.
Tombstone is my favorite Val Kilmer performance. Number one, that movie is just freaking amazing. I love it. And he is so good in that movie. And that movie was a bit of a comeback for him, which is
Hmm.
what got him the gig as Batman.
Yes.
But rightfully so, because when you watch that movie, everyone's great in it. But oh my God, his Doc Holliday is just a scene stealer. And I just revisited it not that long ago, and man, does it hold up. He's just amazing in that movie.
Yeah. No. Very good. And they talked about that in the Val doco, how Tombstone did what it did, and then I mean he's Val talked about it in interviews forever, but he was in, was it South Africa or something, and doing research for, was it The Ghost in the Darkness, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, like his agent and stuff was trying to get a hold of him and couldn't, and he was exploring literal bat caves. And yeah, agent finally got a hold of him and offered him the role, and he said yes on the spot without knowing anything and reading the script. And I do wonder if he'd done a bit more due diligence and read the script and stuff, if he would have signed on. I don't know. Um, but one thing I don't think I did know, was as a child, because his dad owned a lot of real estate and everything in Hollywood, and his family was invited to the set of Batman 66.
Oh,
Um,
I don't think I knew that either.
yeah, like he said one of his fondest childhood memories was on set, like, and he got to sit in the Batmobile and everything. And his brother, who tragically passed away as a 15-year-old, he had an epileptic seizure in a spa bath and drowned.
Oh God.
He was like an amateur filmmaker, and they'd make all these home movies and stuff, and like they made, like Batman home movies and Batman parodies. Like there was a stop motion animated, opening of that his brother did of Fat Man, and it was, a rip off of the Batman 66 opening credits and everything. So Batman was in his DNA from a very early age, and that, like he said, like, it was the memory of a kid wanting to be Batman, and that feeling of being on set of Batman 66 and everything. That's why he signed on to do it, because he loved Batman as a kid. And I
Mm,
thought that was so touching. And then it's so tragic that he just had a really bad time making that movie.
mm,
And in the doco, like he pretty much said it was because of the suit. Like he couldn't hear, he had trouble breathing, obviously very, very hot. And he said because he couldn't hear people, and everything, he said after a short period, like a period of time on set, people just stopped coming to him. Like, during, takes and stuff like that when he wasn't filming, people would just stop interacting with him because they couldn't communicate with him. And he said it felt like less of an actor, and he said he realized that it didn't really matter who was under the cowl. They just needed him to stand there and look like Batman. Um, so yeah, it was disappointing that he didn't have the best time with it, but later in life he seemed to embrace it. Like I remember
yeah.
when, the Lego Batman movie came out, like he posted, like he did a video or something, like, you know in front of like a standee or a poster or something with the Lego Batman, and he sort of was taking a pot shot, and yeah, he definitely embraced it later on. And he also, I think, doing the convention circuits and things like that, I think he started to see how much, he may not have enjoyed it, but how much it meant to other people.
Mm,
And I had friends my age and slightly younger messaging me during the week that were just like, he was my Batman. Um, I don't think I'd go that far. Like he was Batman in my favorite Batman movie. And I don't know, I sort of put him and Keaton together. I think it really dipped, obviously, with Clooney, but not so much his fault either. But I really liked the part of Val's Batman that I liked was seeing the Bruce Wayne persona that I was used to.
mm,
I can still, like, honestly, I can still clearly remember opening day of Batman Forever, and the scene after, the opening scene, the helicopter crash and everything, how you go to Wayne Enterprises and Bruce Wayne visiting Wayne Enterprises and stuff like that. I remember 11-year-old me sitting there going, oh, this is Bruce Wayne. Like, because, animated series and stuff like that.
mm,
Like, Bruce Wayne was a man about town, a known entity, like a quasi celebrity and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is the Bruce Wayne that I know. Um,
mm,
and I always appreciated that. I thought Val was a really good Bruce. Um,
mm.
you know, his Batman was fine. And I still think the Panther suit is the best suit from those four original films. I think he looked the best as Batman, um, you know, easily. But yeah,
Well,
obviously,
and I remember Joel Schumacher said the same thing, even after they did not get along famously. He even said, after all is said and done, I still think Val was the best Batman. So there's something to be said for that when you don't like someone but still have to give them their flowers. So
yeah,
good for Joel, right? For being like, listen, I didn't like working with the guy, but he was still a good Batman. I still think he was the best Batman, and I think that's a nice compliment. So I mean, and I totally understand what you're saying. I just watched it the other day. I watched it with Harley because what else were we gonna do this week as Batman
yeah,
fans? No matter
yeah.
what, we were gonna watch it. Well, I'll tell you the Harley review. She really didn't like Two Face. She hid every time he came on screen,
I can get that. Yeah,
and she's like, "I don't like Two Face." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." Um, whenever it was Batman or the Riddler, she liked it just fine. She would watch it. Anytime it was Bruce Wayne or Chase Meridian, she'd wander off. She didn't care. So
Yep.
that was how it went. But
For a
it was a
3-year-old, I can
start.
get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a start.
I showed it to Henry actually for the first time too, because I wanted to watch it and they were home, and it's just like, oh look, I'm not watching Batman Forever on the evening that I found out Val Kilmer died. Like, I know it's not normally a movie night, but this is happening. And 5-10 minutes in, so all the Batman Forever and whatever else collectibles that I had in terms of pop vinyls, if I get a proper action figure for it from the McFarlane line, I've been just doing the hand-me-downs for the pop vinyls to Henry. So like he's got pretty much my Batman Forever line of pop vinyls. And
that's
he's
very generous of you, because I kept mine. Even when I replaced them, I get them all.
So he's watching the movie and he's just like, I've got a Two-Face. I'm like, yeah, you do. So like he ran and got Two-Face, and then like the Riddler came on, so he ran and got the Riddler. And I'm like, sweetie, you've got the Batman from this one too. I said, the one holding the little green question mark? He's like, yeah. So he's on the couch holding the 3 pop vinyls, watching Batman Forever. And even though at the time I was as sick as a dog, I really wished I had my phone next to me, because I just wanted to take a photo of Henry sitting on the couch, literally cradling the 3 pop vinyls, watching my favorite childhood movie.
Yeah,
it was a nice moment.
no,
I think he was still a bit too young to sort of really appreciate it, but he liked it. He sort of got a kid. It's the Batman Forever Batmobile. I'm like, sure is.
Well,
Yeah, so
I will say
nice.
that about the 2 Schumacher films, like when I don't want to watch Batwheels or I don't want to watch one of Harley's Disney movies, I'm like, maybe I can try to get her to watch one of these Batman movies.
Yeah.
And like I said, it went okay. Not a home run, but all right. Because I was like, oh, this one, there's nothing scary about this. And then Two-Face shows up and she did not like him. And I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense. I didn't think about it. Sure. Yeah, he's kind of gross. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then she said, Daddy, why is Tommy Lee Jones overacting so much and being so over the top? That's not Tommy Lee Jones's skill set. He is much better when he plays the straight man against a funnier co-star. And I said, Harley, you're so smart.
Look, I can't argue. It's very true.
But no, it was, I don't know if fun to revisit. I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean? Like it was,
bittersweet.
It was appropriate, and we had to watch it over 2 nights because, bath
kids.
time and whatnot and all that stuff. But
plus you had to get Harley ready for bed. So,
but yeah, so it is, it's crazy. And like you said, for so many people, and like we've even talked about it here, is like, Michael Keaton was my Batman because I was the perfect age when Batman 89 came out, and then that extended to Batman Returns. And then I was a teenager by the time Forever came out. Yep. I was 16, I think.
Yeah,
that checks out. I was 16 years old. So I was a lot more critical because I was older, right? But for people like you and for people who are 5-7 years younger than me, like that was their Batman. And so, yeah, for millions of kids growing up in the 90s when Batman Forever was the movie they went to see, that was their Batman. And I totally respect that.
Yeah. And I mean, look, regardless of what people thought of the movie, I mean, it was one of the biggest movies of the 90s. Like it was a phenomenon. So, love it or hate it, it definitely has its place in Batman history. And yeah, I said it was just sad to get the news, but I sort of have to mention too, I mean, long-time listeners would know this, but I was lucky enough to meet Val in 2011. He came to Supernova in Brisbane, and I had no plans on going. I had a pretty busy weekend that weekend lined up, and I think it was only a short time before the convention that he was actually announced. Like I think it was like maybe 3 weeks. It wasn't very long. And I went along and took my Ultimate Batman from 95 and also got an 8x10 signed, and I was able to shake his hand and say, and tell the man how much that movie meant to me as a kid. And you could tell like he was it was genuine. His reaction, was touched, and like he loved seeing the Ultimate Batman statue and things like that. So it was, he's the only Batman I've ever met,
Mm.
and I'm really glad that I got the chance when I did. It was before the cancer and everything happened, and yeah, I had my 2 or 3 minutes conversation with Val. I had a little bit longer than other people because I had a friend with me who she just sort of came along for the hell of it. So I had my statue to get signed, and my friend Kel had my 8x10 photo to get signed. So the time that I sort of had double the time, because even though Kel was the next person in line, it was for me. So I kept talking to him. So it was a lovely couple of minutes, and something I can look back on and treasure.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I think that it is really nice that later in life he really seemed to understand and embrace his moment as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though he didn't like doing it, and he's been very honest about that, he didn't like doing it. He didn't want to do another one. But he got older and he started meeting fans, and then I think in his autobiography he literally, there's a quote that's like, and then I met this scrawny kid in Brisbane and he changed my whole perspective. I don't, coincidence probably. But no, in all seriousness, like I think in getting some time away, looking back, realizing that what, love it or hate it, you are now going to be Batman for the rest of your life and far after you're gone. And he just seemed to really embrace it and have fun with that, and I'm glad he found that piece where he could make peace with being Batman and be happy about it and poke fun at it and play with it, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Had you ever seen the clip with him and Warwick Davis?
Yes, I actually got reposted a few times this week in the
I'm sure,
restaurant.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure it did, because that was the first thing I saw where I was like, "Oh, good, he's okay with having fun with this now."
Yeah.
And that was probably 10 years ago now, right?
Oh yeah, at
It was
least maybe
when
more.
Warwick Davis had like his reality
Life,
show.
life is short, like a
Yes,
mockumentary sort of.
it
Yeah.
was a mockumentary. Yeah, right. It was, so yeah, it wasn't truly a documentary, but yeah, like that whole thing with him and Val, since they were in Willow together. Oh, Willow! I didn't even mention Willow. Duh.
Yeah.
Um,
Met his wife there through
yeah.
the Willow. Yeah.
But like, yeah, like that whole funny bit of, oh, I have one of the Batmans here, and she guesses everyone except Val Kilmer. And so him being a good sport about that, I got to give props to anyone who's a good sport about stuff, about poking fun at themselves. And that was when I was like, oh, good. I'm glad Val can have fun with all this now.
Yeah. No,
And then did you
absolutely.
did you see his last Instagram post?
I don't think so. No.
So it was from the last week of February, and yeah, he had like this. It was like a pretty aged old Batman cowl, but he had like put it on,
Okay.
and so yeah, so like he had two more posts after that were just his artwork, but the last one that was actually of him was him playing with this Batman cowl. I don't know why they were doing it. They were just goofing around, but he put on a Batman cowl, and you know somewhat appropriate and kind of poetic that would be his last video on Instagram.
Okay. Actually, yeah, I'm looking at it now. Oh wow.
Like it's pretty beat up, right? It's like all
Yeah.
gray and wrinkly or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't know
and he'd
where.
done like a Batman painting.
Yeah, but that was kind of a fun little thing too.
Yeah.
I
God
mean,
bless him.
we can talk more Batman, but I also want to acknowledge before I forget, it's also really nice that he got to do Top Gun Maverick
Yes.
and
Yeah.
have that swan song before he left us. I think that's like a really beautiful thing. I love how they figured that out and how they made it work in that movie. And
Mm.
so it was another one of his iconic characters, and I'm glad he got to say goodbye to it the way he did.
Yeah, and say goodbye to the public too, really.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, just no, don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, everyone saw that movie. But like, what happens to him in that movie and everything? It really did feel like everyone saying goodbye, even though he hadn't
Mhm,
gone yet.
mhm.
Yeah, so no, very very sad news this week, and he'll always be the Batman from my favorite childhood movie. That movie's always going to be you know, what it is to me, that special place in my heart. And every time I watch it, a little part of me is just that 11-year-old kid again. And not just the 11-year-old kid sitting in the cinema, but the 11-year-old kid who, you know, who was already a Batman fan, but it just got kicked up such a notch in 1995. It was everything, that movie, to me.
Mm,
So yeah, very, very sad, but that's life, I guess, unfortunately.
yeah. And I was just thinking about it actually because the last episode I did was the commercials with Scotty and Michael, which was a lot of
Hmm.
fun. But in there, I was talking about the Batman stunt show, and in my digging to learn about the Batman stunt show, I came across some Batman Forever stunt shows.
Hmm.
And so it got my brain moving, and I'm like, oh God, Batman Forever is 30 this year. We got to figure out a plan. We got to figure out how we're going to commemorate it because we've already done a Batman Forever commentary. We've done something of a review. I'm like, we'll figure it out. And then this happens, and I'm like, oh crap. Well, we got to start thinking about it even sooner than later. So how weird that this year, they're kind of gearing up for the 30th anniversary of Batman Forever. There's merchandise on the shelves of Target.
Mm.
They've got those retro action figures, which I still bought because I think they're cool. And I have a couple here for you that I just need to send to you.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Thank you.
surprise.
I didn't know you did that.
They had a shirt. I think it was only on the Target website. I
I
don't think it
know
was
about the
actually a
shirt.
store.
And actually, this week I was just like, damn, I wish I had that shirt because I would have been rocking it big time.
Well, that's right. Because that's why it's sitting here with those figures. I just need to get motivated to mail them to Australia. So like they had the shirt on the website anyway, we're getting ready to celebrate 30 years of Batman Forever. And the fact that,
Mhm.
this is when Val passes away is very odd timing and weird,
Mhm.
but also somehow appropriate. Like not to say it's like a good thing, but like in a
Yeah,
year where
it's
we're going to
bittersweet.
be celebrating that movie anyway, we can celebrate him along with that movie. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
very true.
so it's just interesting because it's just how it all worked out. But I guess my point is, number one, something to think about of how we want to celebrate 30 years of Batman Forever in a couple of months. But also, last year we talked about the Schumacher cut that we know exists in
Mhm.
some form out there. And we said, well, next year's the 30th. It'd be a great time to do that. And now with Val's passing, there's really no better time to honor him and the anniversary, but to spend the money, finish the cut, and release it for fans.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, but
I
I'm
know,
right
I
there with
know,
you.
I
It
know.
would
I'm
be
trying.
nice.
I'm being realistic about it. I'm not holding my breath either, but I also want to be like, I want to jump back on one of the Twitter type sites and message James Gunn and go, James,
Yeah.
this is the time to do it. For multiple reasons now, and you know,
In a world where we're no longer in a pandemic and Warner Brothers are trying to get rid of the Looney Tunes, for Christ's sake, I can't see it happening. But look, we can hope and pray.
yeah, I don't know. I just think it would be a very nice way to celebrate the anniversary and also honor Val's performance as Batman because, based on when we did that episode and when we talked to Justin and Loy Sauce, I can't remember his real name because they called him Loy Sauce. But when we talked to them and, some of Val's best stuff, we didn't get to see because it's in the Schumacher cut,
Mm.
which I
Let's
know. I
just hope
mean,
someone, you know, that USB just finds itself, left in an airport bathroom or something,
right,
somewhere
right.
where
That
someone
whole
can
thing.
access it. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, he was 65 years old, which is far too young.
Hmm.
And but he certainly made his mark, not just with Batman, but with his entire career. Again, just the iconic films that we mentioned, right? Top Gun, Maverick, Willow, The Doors, Tombstone. A hell of a resume. You mentioned The Ghost in the Darkness, The Saint. I never saw The Saint, but that was another big one. Yeah, he had a heck of a career. He was a heck of a talent, and it's just a shame that got cut short for a number of reasons, and then he had to to battle cancer the way he did. That's just something that no one should have to go through, and it sucks that it did, and it sucks that unfortunately he is now gone.
Yeah. Pour one out for Val.
Yep. Out of your Batman Forever McDonald's cup.
Well, I mean, what else? That was implied.
Yes.
What else would you use?
So anyway, yeah, just great memories of 1995, especially for us Batman fans. And yeah, he will always be one of our Batmen and will be remembered forever. And so for everybody out there who loves Batman Forever, loves Batman, loves Val Kilmer, loves Tombstone, we're all in this together. And the good thing, the silver lining, is that he will not be forgotten.
Nope, never.
Well, all right. Rest in peace, Val. This one's for you.
I was just quickly, I thought while because you were talking about the Batman Forever, like how there's action figures on the shelf at Target and stuff. Since we've last recorded, they've announced that McFarlane are doing a Batman Returns line.
Yeah. They did, and I can't touching on.
Away. Yeah,
definitely worth a mention.
That Batman figure, man, it looks sweet. It looks so damn good. Like we've never had like a proper Keaton Returns suit action figure before like that. So I'm stoked. I think and we're getting a Max Schreck figure.
I know. I'm so excited. Thrilled. I'm so excited. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, okay, good. Because we know like the McFarlane license ends this year, I think. So I'm glad they're getting this out in time. I'm so excited. I love the ones they did for Forever and for Batman and Robin. So I'm definitely excited for Returns. So you've got Batman, Catwoman, Penguin, Max Schreck. Holy crap. And then the Penguin Commandos.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I do wonder if the Penguin Commandos are the Build-A-Figures. So like you get...
I don't know.
Like you get half a penguin with every character. And so then you can build 2 Penguin Commandos.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Catwoman too, because again, we've never really had aside from that original action figure from 92, we've never had another Pfeiffer Catwoman figure. Aside from the Pop Vinyl. Not that I can think of.
It's a great question.
I can't
of an action figure. I don't think so. No. I think you might.
There's been statues and stuff, but
yeah, for sure. I have one. It's amazing.
Yeah,
she's on a snowy rooftop, and I just love it. Anyway, so yeah, those I am super excited for. I can't wait. Right now, there is like a standalone Keaton Batman 89 figure.
Yes, there is.
I have not seen it. I have not grabbed it, but I know it's out there. But I'm like, I still want him to do a proper Batman 89 line, just like these others. That's Batman, Joker, Bob, Vicky, and then whatever the Build-A-Figure is, Lawrence. I don't know.
Yeah. Those little figures that are coming out, they're not cheap either, which is disappointing. But
which ones?
That other line you're talking about that are coming out with the Joker, Bob, and Batman.
Oh yeah, so I would love the McFarlane. Yeah, I want McFarlane to do it so they all can go together. But yeah, right. Actually, it should be shipping any day now. There is another. I can't remember the name of the company. It's a company I hadn't heard of. But yes, they're doing retro figures from Batman 89, and it's Batman, Joker, Bob, and the Batmobile, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
I pre-ordered them like a year ago. Yeah. So at least we'll get those because they look awesome. You're right. They weren't cheap, but who cares? Why make the money if you can't enjoy spending it? But yeah, they're not going to match up with my McFarlane one. So I still want the McFarlane line like the other ones.
Yeah, no, I agree. But we can wish and hope, but yeah, that standalone Batman, I haven't seen it either, but I have a McFarlane Batman that Eric sent me. So I had no idea it was coming, because he got it. I think it was one that came with the Batmobile from memory, and then they released the other one. Yeah, so then he upgraded and I just randomly got a package in the mail one day, and he's like, "Wanted you to have this." So I've got a McFarlane 89 Batman.
Eric is sending you things now.
Well, this was ages ago.
When were you going to tell me this? I feel cheated on.
Yeah, so I've got him on my shelf, so I'm really looking forward to having a Returns figure to go with it. So I think last year for Christmas, I put my order in. I got the but sort of between Christmas and Father's Day, I got the full Batman Forever line. I think this year it'll be the Batman Returns line. I'll just put my wish list in and say I want
Yeah.
these, and
Yeah.
won't need to worry about it. So yeah.
No, so I've got the McFarlane Keaton Batman as part of that big huge set that had the 6 figures.
Oh yeah, yep.
So I've got it in there, but like I still want one on its own because that set is complete. Like I don't want
to open it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I still kind of want to get one on its own, but then I want him to do the line, but I feel like we might be out of time by the time he gets around to it.
Yeah.
It's fun being a grown man. Buying Batman toys.
Lawrence Build-A-Fig.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, no, I mean, in all seriousness, who would be the Build-A-Fig in that?
Knowing
set?
the fact that they use like the bat that's barely in the movie for the Batman Forever line, like I don't know.
That was a huge missed opportunity. I'm still kind of bitter about it. Yeah. The bat's cool, but I would have much rather had almost anything else.
Yeah, like I mean, Chase Meridian,
Meridian, Sugar and Spice. There are other things. The Panther suit. There are other things.
Oh yes, the Panther suit. But I mean, I don't know, like maybe the charred corpse of from Batman '89. I don't know.
Like Grissom, you could do a Grissom.
Yeah, you do Grissom.
Alfred, Commissioner Gordon,
Knox.
Oh my God, Knox. Yes.
There we go.
Eckhart. Mm-hmm. Anyway, all right. So no, that was a good call. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention it. But yeah, I can't wait to pre-order them. God, they're so cool. Anyway, let's go on to Superman. Wasted my segue, but it's fine. So Superman still coming out July 11th. They're starting to kick up promotion because it's going to be the summer of Superman, y'all, and I can't wait. So this weekend, the Minecraft movie came out, and the Minecraft movie is making all the money. I don't know if you saw that, Brendan. Holy crap!
I saw you post about it. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing. Like it's
I know
not us, but it's a whole thing. Yeah,
I know it is, but it's doubling the tracking.
Wow.
It was tracking for 65. They're going to come in at over 130.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's madness.
And that's like it was worldwide. That's just
that's just North America. Yeah. So like, yes, it was going to do well anyway, but it is like doing crazy well. And you're right. It's because, my nephews and my niece, they'll talk my ear off about Minecraft and I'll have to pretend to care. Just the same way I would talk my parents' ears off about Batman, and they pretend.
I do not know the first thing about it. I just know that things are like blocky. That's literally all I know.
So here's the thing: we had heard murmurs already that they were going to do a 5-minute Superman sneak peek with the Minecraft movie, and then last week was CinemaCon. And we'd heard murmurs that with CinemaCon, they were going to release the new Superman trailer. And so those two pieces of news were like floating around. And then CinemaCon happened. And they released a video of David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult going, hey, great news. This weekend, go to the Minecraft movie and you'll get a 5-minute Superman sneak peek. And we're like, okay, cool, great. That part's confirmed. What about the trailer? Nothing about the trailer. And I'm like, oh, so maybe like the wires got crossed and the sneak peek was the trailer and whatever. So we were all ready to go with a new trailer. And then it was like, oh, okay, maybe that's not happening. And then the sneak peek comes out. So it was supposed to play with Minecraft. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll take Harley to see Minecraft. She doesn't know about Minecraft either, but I showed her the trailer. She was interested. I was like, I want to see Superman. She can watch Minecraft. I can eat popcorn. Everybody wins. And that was the plan. And then was it Thursday night? Yeah. The sneak peek is released officially anyway on the internet. And I was like, well, great. I don't have to go see Minecraft. And again, I would have gone. I hear it's kind of fun and stupid, which is fine. I have nothing against it. But also, I'm like, I'm not going to go to all the trouble
No.
if I can watch it now, watch the Superman sneak peek now. So I watched the Superman sneak peek. We all watched it. It was released in glorious HD everywhere Thursday night. I think because they knew it was going to leak anyway, so they're like, we'll just put it out there
Well, I
because
mean, it
regardless,
kind of
because it's
had
not
leaked.
about the what's that?
So it kind of had leaked.
I mean, possibly.
Yeah.
Um, and so, also, I don't think they ever saw it as like an attendance driver. Like, they didn't think, aside from me, people were going to go to Minecraft just to see it.
Yeah.
So it's more about like, hey, this is a big movie. Let's get as many people to watch a
Yes,
Superman sneak
exactly.
peek, right? So it came out. I nixed my plans for going to see Minecraft this weekend, which is fine. But now we have a 5-minute Superman sneak peek that is readily available. And so it's kind of a new trailer, but not exactly. But let's talk about it. So before I say my piece, Brendan, quick overall thoughts of this 5-minute Superman sneak peek.
I mean, look, it didn't move the needle for me at all. I mean, I've been looking forward to the movie anyway. It's my most anticipated movie of the year, and it didn't. I mean, it didn't really. It was. I mean, when you say extended preview, it's an extension of the preview we got at Christmas time, literally. I mean, it did probably give us a little bit more of the tone of the film, in terms of a bit more interaction with crypto, and particularly the interaction with the bots in the Fortress of Solitude, and just sort of the way they are. Again, it's very light. When I say light, I don't mean color wise, but I mean it was. I mean, like light, touch of humor there, not over the top. Yeah, and it's clearly giving us like an all-in version of Superman. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we get the Fortress of Solitude, which we've had in movies before. We had, say, in Man of Steel, like we had sort of the robot. What would you say, like sidekicks, servants, whatever?
Yeah.
Robot
Yeah.
butlers, I guess, for lack of a better term. We had a version of that, but not like we get in the animated series and in the comics and things like that. I mean, this is unabashedly just giving us everything. Like it seems to be like we're going to get the full lore of Superman, not a watered down version. It's just going to be all there on the screen, which is great because it's a version of the character we haven't had before in live action. So yeah, I thought it was cool. But again, there was nothing that made me go, oh, or oh, gee, I haven't seen that. This is just like I said, it's an extension of what we got in Christmas, like literally. So yeah, it didn't move the needle for me. It didn't make me more excited. It certainly didn't make me less excited. It just kind of was what it was, and I don't mean that to sound negative at all because I enjoyed it, but I think we probably share the same opinion just based on what we've said in the group chat. But it's like, yeah, it was really cool. I would have liked to have seen some more new stuff. I'm sure we'll get another theatrical trailer, before the movie hits in July, probably like late May or early June, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I liked it. Is a short way of saying that.
All right. Well, I'll get my negative out of the way first. And that is if they hadn't released it and I went in knowing nothing about it and I went to Minecraft just to see this
Mm-hmm.
and this is what it was, I would have been pretty mad.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like we've talked about offline, there's not a ton new here. So if I'd have made a special trip to the theater and brought my 3-year-old to watch Minecraft and they gave me this, I'd have been like, dude, why are you wasting my time? I could watch most of this already.
Mm-hmm.
So that aside, because they saved me that trip to the theater, I still thoroughly enjoyed what I saw and I can't wait for this movie. And I have a lot of really good things to say about it. But yes, it is very much like you said, it is the same trailer from December, but now with a much longer prologue where we see a bunch of those elements from that trailer now in context in an actual scene as opposed to just flashes in a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But there was very little that they showed you where you go, holy crap, what is that? We hadn't seen that before. We'd seen it all
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
We'd already seen Crypto. We'd already seen the fortress. We'd already seen the robots in the fortress. We'd already seen all those in the previous trailer. Now we see them in a scene, but again, like there was no big, holy crap, big reveal, nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting like what we got for The Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
if you remember that,
Yeah. Or
where
even
it
Dark
was,
Knight.
yeah, where you got the opening of The Dark Knight Rises, and then you got essentially a trailer attached to it that was a new trailer. That's what I was thinking this was going to be. And if
Yes.
it had been that, I would have been like, hell yeah, worth every penny. But because it was what it was, I'm really glad they released it online.
Yeah.
All that is to say, I still can't freaking wait for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is still my most anticipated movie of the year. There was nothing in this sneak peek that I didn't like. I liked it all. I thought it was terrific. And so I really liked that scene. I liked seeing that scene, especially because I'm super into this Fortress of Solitude. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks perfect. I love it. I love the robots. I think that that's crazy. I loved what they did in Man of Steel with Kelex and the robots. I like this too. This is such a cool and, like you said, very Silver Age Superman classic comic booky approach. I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved seeing all that stuff play out. And then using the sun to heal him and everything I thought was really cool too. So that scene, the crypto scene of getting him back to the fortress and then the robots helping him heal, I thought that was great. And that's all the new stuff is in there. And I thought it was great. Like you said, there was a little humor, but nothing, nothing out of control, nothing over the top, nothing eye rolly, just some, a lighter touch, which I appreciated. And then the trailer part of it was essentially the trailer we had already seen.
Mm-hmm.
All of the shots seemed like maybe like a second longer, like a tiny bit extended, right?
Yep.
Because like when Lex is looking out the window, this time you hear him say he's back, as opposed to last time you didn't hear that. So there are little things in there, but for the most part, it's what we had seen before. So I love that they're getting this extra little push. I love that every person who is going to see Minecraft and it's making $130 million this weekend is going to watch this, especially because how many kids are going to watch this?
Yeah.
Get those kids excited to go see Superman this summer. I think that's great.
And also show the parents who are taking the kids that this is a Superman they can take the kids to.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, I think on its own, it's great. I just was expecting more new. I've gotten over the fact that that's not what this is. And I do appreciate that they're still showing restraint. Because like you said, there will be another big trailer.
Mm-hmm.
My hunch, the first week of May for the kickoff of the summer movie season, because then it'll be playing before every summer movie in May and June.
Okay.
It's my hunch. So that's about a month from now. But yes, there will be another trailer. And so I appreciate that for this one, they're still holding back and they're not giving everything away yet.
Yeah. Sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I completely admit it. So, we still get the same little quick cameos of Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner and Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific. You get all those. But it's worth noting, just because Guy Gardner is in the trailer and is in the sneak peek, they have said, I didn't see how official it was, but it seemed pretty official, that Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is going to show up in Lanterns.
Yes, I did see that.
Which I know we all I don't even want to say we assumed, but we thought that could be possible because Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion's version, by their own rules, has to be part of the same core as John and Hal. So I love that we're getting that connection. I think that's super cool. So I'm into that too. But yeah, so again, we get to see everyone, but so far, they gave us something new without giving us anything new.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And that's okay. I'm good with it. I've watched it multiple times. I showed it to Harley. She was very excited. She loves crypto. She loves Superman. So I'm really hoping that she can go see it, because then I have an excuse to go see it multiple times. But yeah, so I really am liking everything I am seeing. And to your point, what I am most excited about is just how all in on the Superman mythology they are going, which we talked about with the first trailer. And now I'm seeing just more of it. I love how classic the Daily Planet is. I love how classic the Fortress of Solitude is. I am here for all that.
Mm. Yep. Look, 100%. I said it didn't move the needle for me, but that's not a bad thing because the needle's already pointing in the right direction. So I just can't wait to see it. And, starting to see some, hopefully soon some merch and posters in cinemas and things like that, because it'll be July before we know it, which is scary.
Yep, I know. I saw a picture of some toys today.
So you
And
guys talked about that in the group chat, but no one posted the picture, so I have not seen the toys.
the picture I saw was pretty low res. And Joe was worried that it was a little spoilery. I wouldn't say it was, and I don't really
Okay.
think it was. But yeah, it was a couple of the action figures, and again, I don't think I'll be able to resist, because I'm so excited for the movie, and when that will often schlep over into merchandise. But yeah, so you're right; those toys are going to start hitting the shelves, and I've already got 2 Superman shirts from the new movie, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. I got an email today from the DC shop that was like, "Get ready for Superman. Come check out the new stuff we got." And I'm like, "Oh, damn you!" But I really want. So yeah, I mean, we're in April. The summer movie season kicks off in less than a month.
Better get that Real Fans episode going.
It's already in the works. Don't you worry about
That's
it.
great.
We've already started planning. I've already got the list. We're in good shape, because I don't want to get caught off guard like last time. But yeah, I was like, I realized it was April 1st. I was like, oh, we're a month away from the kickoff of the summer movie season. I'd better get working. So,
Yeah.
yep, we're going to do that. But my point is, a month, we're kicking off the summer movie season with Thunderbolts, May 2nd, May 3rd, whatever that first weekend of May is. And then when the summer movie season starts, it's going to be July before we know it. And so I'm so here for it.
It's going to be a good one, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot I'm looking forward to this summer, but nothing as much as Superman.
Yep. Ditto,
it's also, what's that?
I said ditto, my friend.
Yeah. I will also say, this is neither here nor there, but it was CinemaCon this week. And CinemaCon, it's the convention they do where it's for theater owners, theater managers, to show them everything that's coming and why they need to book this movie, because it's going to make them all the money. And so a lot of it's trailers and footage, and the stars show up. Sometimes they'll show a whole movie. Apparently they showed all of the new How to Train Your Dragon this time.
Yeah, and apparently it was very well received.
Yeah. And so because of that, we, the public, we don't get to see everything, and that's fine. It's not for us, but we get some things. It's not Comic-Con, but like they show these things, and a lot of the studios will use this to release new trailers. And so this week we got a lot of new trailers. And my point is this: we got more and better trailers this week than we did at the Super Bowl, and I think that's weird, but it was worth pointing out.
No, fair point.
Like this year's Super Bowl, I was so let down by the movie trailers, and this week, the CinemaCon week, we've gotten a lot of cool trailers.
Yeah, wasn't it kind of like Jurassic World and not much else? But even then, like they released the trailer like a week before the Super Bowl or something. From
Right. And like, yeah, it was like Thunderbolts, Jurassic World. I can't remember what it was for the Super Bowl, but it was nothing, at least to me, that was super earth shattering. And this week we got a lot more stuff that I was a lot more excited about. Did you happen to see the trailer for Megan 2?
Yes.
Oh my
It
God. I'm
looks
so here
awesome.
for it. I'm so here for it. It's insane and I love it.
This bitch versus that bitch.
Yeah,
What a tagline.
that is the best tagline I have heard in years. This bitch versus that bitch.
And then like
Amazing.
Blumhouse have been sending, to influencers, whoever, get all this free sponsored stuff. Megan 2 shirts that just say hold on to your vaginas.
Amazing.
It's you know, I really enjoyed the first one. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen it since the theater, but I enjoyed it. And then I was kind of like, about Megan 2. I was like, well, what can they do? And then I saw the trailer and it's like, well, that looks like all the fun. And then like using Britney in the trailer, like
Yes.
it was
Yes.
great. It was so good.
I'm with you. Listen, it ain't a superhero movie, but it's pretty damn close at this point.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, she even stole Batman's squirrel suit.
Yes, yeah, I did think that. Actually, the part that I think maybe made me laugh the loudest in the trailer was when, she obviously is getting a new body and stuff, and it's like, and make me taller. Like how they actually put that in the trailer, because it's
Yeah.
like, well, obviously the girl, because she was only a child when the first one was made, she's grown. So it's like, how
Right.
are they going to
Yep.
explain that? And they literally put it in the trailer.
Might
Make me
as
taller.
well.
That really made me laugh.
All right. Well, anyway, point is lots of cool trailers this week, but Superman is still our number one, and we can't wait until that promotion continues to wrap up. And I think we're gonna get that new trailer again in about a month.
Yep.
But you all have been chiming in, been getting lots of emails, and so it's time to check in with you, fine feathered finks. Let's crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
All right, first email here comes from Dave Chambers. It says, "Hey, BatCast, I wanted to chime in and mention to Jamie a bit of the behind the scenes for season 3 of Lois and Clark. While yes, the camp did increase, sadly, if I remember correctly, the network wanted Lois and Clark to get together sooner than later, which is why you have the drama in the first 4 episodes of Lois and Clark fighting on whether to be together. The producers went forward with the plan to get them married, and then Doomsday happened in the comics. DC didn't want Superman married on TV and not in the comics. Then it became the Clone Saga, Shrinking Little People, and then the new Krypton Saga. Finally, they get married in season 4, but to your point on the camp, just wait to season 4. That being said, season 4 does offer some good TV. The John Doe episodes are really good. They kind of speak to our current political climate, and the Christmas episode is awesome. Toyman finally makes a proper debut, and the specter of Lex is still there haunting Superman. There are some gems. Anyway, loving the update on your Lois and Clark watch. Are you going to do Smallville next? Keep the bat signal shining, Dave. Thanks, Dave. Well, Jamie's not here, but he will listen. He will hear you. But I know, Brendan, you're a bigger Lois and Clark fan than I. So I don't know if you knew any of this stuff about drama with season 3 and season 4. I some of it sounds vaguely familiar from back in that time, but I'm going to have to trust Dave on this.
Yeah, I from memory, I might even have been that Look Up in the Sky doco that came out around the time of Superman Returns. But I have seen it somewhere where, like there was a big, issue because, like Doomsday happened in the comics and they didn't, Lois and Clark and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, I loved it as a kid. I rewatched the series when they first came out on DVD back in 2006. I haven't done like I'm not an encyclopedia in terms of it. So, but what he's saying does sound very, very familiar. So I do tend to concur with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dave, thanks for the context and interesting. I was like, I should rewatch it. I just don't know when I will, but I feel like we've talked about doing a little bit of Lois and Clark coverage in the lead up to Superman. So maybe that will happen here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
because
at
it's
least
been a
a
quiet,
pilot.
quiet Batman year, and we want to talk Superman come June, July. So
I know, but I mean, I was excited to see Batman in the new Superman toys for the movie, so that's good news.
yeah, Yeah, it's great.
I'm kidding. Okay.
You got to have a builder figure something, don't you?
That's right. Damn right. All right. Next message is from Ralph Richards. It says, "Hey, hope everyone's doing well. I'm currently listening to the newest episode, and I completely agree how tough it is to find the actual Dark Knight theme throughout the soundtrack." So this is from when you and I did the episodes about the themes. It said, "Years ago, I stumbled upon this mix on YouTube that pulls out the best parts. Have a listen and enjoy." And he sent a link here. So thanks, Ralph. And yeah, it's such a weird thing because we all know those Dark Knight themes, but like there's not a track that's like the track, which is crazy. But thank you. Thanks for sharing, and we'll check that out. Next email, it's Dave again. He said, "Sorry for the back-to-back emails, but I had to chime in and share with you, Andy, that you are not alone. Not only do we have wives that are our constant companions in all things geeky, not only do we each have 2 kids and a little girl that knows the Batman 66 theme, not only do we love Batman, we also have a mother-in-law that labels everything." It's absolutely hilarious, some of the things that I find labeled in her house. I'm glad I'm not alone. Just to chime in on the Bat scores, my favorite theme is Batman Forever / Batman and Robin. I probably hum that in average at least once a day, Dave. Thanks, Dave. And well, there you go. Then you feel my pain.
But Dave, is does she label everything in your house? Not just her own.
Yep, that's literally what I was going to ask. You can label to your heart's content in your own house, but she comes and does it in mine. And sure enough, I had some doozies to send to Brendan and the boys while she was here. I love her, sweetest lady in the world, but the labels are just madness.
Oh God, that's really funny.
But thank you for sharing, Dave. I'm glad I'm not alone. All right, this email here is from Ren. It says, "Hey, Bat Brothers, hope all is well. I enjoyed your recent episode on the Batman musical themes. It's an embarrassment of riches as Batman fans to have so many amazing themes created for our hero, and I'm glad that my 2 favorites were represented on both Andy's and Brendan's lists. First was the Shirley Walker theme for Mask of the Phantasm and The Adventures of Batman and Robin. It's such a rich and sonically pleasing take on the character, especially the Adventures of Batman and Robin version. I recall Kevin Smith saying on a Fat Man on Batman episode that someone close to the show, I'd assume it was Paul Dini, told him that Shirley Walker's theme was meant to be the theme for Batman the Animated Series, but because the higher-ups at WB wanted synergy with the films, they used Elfman's theme for the opening and closing credits." I'll stop right there. I think I remember hearing that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where, but I do. That does sound familiar. So I think I've heard that. It said, "Second, Hans Zimmer's situation is an interesting one because I remember him saying he didn't want to give Batman a fleshed out theme in Begins because Batman hadn't earned it since the character was just starting out. But once The Dark Knight came around, he gave Batman his theme, which plays from 2 minutes and 8 seconds to 3 minutes and 37 seconds in Like a Dog Chasing Cars." And then he gives a bunch of other instances of the soundtrack here from A Watchful Guardian and Rise from The Dark Knight Rises. I enjoy it most when Batman is taking down the SWAT team and when he tells Gordon he's what Gotham needs to be in The Dark Knight, and then when he carries the bomb in The Dark Knight Rises. I associate the character of Batman the most with Walker's captivating and triumphant version and Zimmer's tragic yet heroic take, so I'm happy that both were discussed on the episode. Thank you for all that you do and keep shining the bat signal bright. All the best, Ren." Thank you, Ren, and thank you for the additional context and thoughts around Shirley Walker's Batman theme and Hans Zimmer's. It's really interesting, and agreed, those are great Batman themes.
Yep, 100%.
All right, next email here is from Austin. It says, "Hey, Batcasters. Andy, I've got a quick question for you specifically. My fiance and I are planning a group bachelorette party with a group of friends in Orlando. Do you have any park recommendations you could give us in Disney, Universal, or Orlando as a whole? We're excited, and with your knowledge of both Disney and Universal, I knew you'd be the perfect person to ask." Thanks, Austin. I'm a little off Batman topic, but that's okay. First thing, you're doing your bachelor party with your fiance? I don't think you understand the concept. I say it with love. You're supposed to do it with the boys.
Glad you said it. I was thinking it.
I support you, Austin. You do your thing, but that's doing it together. Then it just is a vacation. It's not a bachelor party anymore. It's a pre-marriage trip with friends. But regardless, Orlando's a blast. You'll have tons of fun. I mean, there's nothing I can tell you that you probably don't know. I think that, okay, I'm gonna think party atmosphere since you're considering it your bachelorette parties, and for that, I think the best place is Epcot. I'm sure any theme park fan knows that at Epcot, that's where you can quote unquote drink around the world. And Epcot's the coolest park to just hang out, have a drink, have something to eat, and just have a good time. And so I would say that would be the first thing. You could also do the same at a lot of the other parks, but Epcot's like the perfect one for it. I don't know when you're coming. Does it say? It doesn't say, but depending on the time of year, Universal has also, like at Mardi Gras for Universal, they also have a lot of like food and drink places throughout the park, and that's a blast too. They do something similar for Halloween Horror Nights if you're coming for in the fall. Same thing, lots of fun drinks and everything that you can take advantage of. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that you want to have some drinks and have some fun and have some laughs, and if so, I would say Epcot's your first choice, but otherwise I'd hit Universal Studios Florida because we have good drinks, good bars. And another place that's super fun, that's it's not in the park, so maybe this is helpful. Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar at Disney Springs is a great bar. Super fun. Love it there. And so is Trader Sam's at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. So those are some non-park options where you can, have fun, unique drinks and just chill. As far as the parks go, the parks are all fun, rides, all that stuff, but I'm going to assume you kind of want a little more party atmosphere. Brendan, anything to add?
I'll take your word for it.
All right, great. Okay. This message is from Tyler Closter. It says, "Hey, BatCast gang, I just listened to the Batman themes episode and I really enjoyed it. I had to respond after hearing Andy and Brendan's discussion in the Wayne Manor mailbox, specifically the idea of moving the Matt Reeves Batman over to Max and having whoever ends up playing Batman in James Gunn's DCU be the big screen Batman going forward. As someone who loves the Batman and hopes that you fine gentlemen will someday see the light regarding this great Batman movie, let me say how much I respectfully hate this idea. Admittedly, I'm slowly losing hope that the Reeves Batman will return at all, though I hope to be proven wrong, but his saga deserves the big screen treatment, if it's ever to be finished. I love the Penguin, but this Batman belongs on the big screen. The Batman felt like my own personal reward for enduring years of Zack Snyder DC movies, and I want to see it continue on the big screen. Therefore, I propose a counter idea, have the DCU Batman be in a streaming service, along with Damian Wayne's Robin, not what I want, but I know that's the plan, and we'll still make guest appearances in the DC movies in the meantime when the story calls for it. And then once the Reeves-Pattinson trilogy wraps up, knock on wood, the DCU Batman can take over on the big screen. Just wondering what you think. Wishing you the best, Tyler." All right, thanks, Tyler. And Brendan, do you want to respond first, or would you like me to?
Well, I think respectfully, I completely disagree. I mean, it just goes to show there's no easy answer to this problem that Warner Brothers have created for themselves. Like, let's be honest.
Sure, yeah. Let me just say how much I respectfully hate this idea.
Yes.
No. I mean, honestly, I get where you're coming from, Tyler. I totally do. Like if you, I mean, based on your message, you love the Batman. And if you do love it that much, I understand why you want it to be the big screen Batman. I think it's just a matter of taste, of like, that's the flavor you enjoy more. And we're more excited for whatever's coming next. And so, I think we're going to, of course, side with our preferences and wanting our favorite flavor to be the big screen one. So I get it. I mean, as far as like having one on streaming and one in the movies, yeah, six one, half dozen the other. I think it could work either way. I just think that because we're trying to build this greater DC on film, that's now where the priority lies. And so
Yeah.
for me, I would put the new one.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't want this to sound terrible, but in some ways, like the fact it's a mess. I mean, the fact that we never got the solo Affleck movie and that became this movie, which then is like, out of continuity of everything else, and in a world where everything's about everything being connected, and then announcing a whole new universe before the Snyder, if whatever you want to call it, the DCEU had officially wrapped up, like, and then the Reeves thing still continuing on its own, but there being this whole, like, it's messy. Warner Brothers have created this mess themselves. But I don't know, like, it just, to me, it just feels like the Reeves stuff, particularly with this new universe launching and everything, like, it's kind of, as you said, like, it's not the priority. Like, I don't think it's quite the level of DOA like, the last handful of DCEU movies were, which I don't think was fair to them, to be perfectly honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not far off, if that makes sense. Like, to me, it's just like, cool, this is its thing, but now I'm waiting for the real Batman. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
no,
kind of how
I get
feel.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying with that. And I will say this, and I said it not that long ago. Maybe it was when it got delayed again. I can't remember when, but I truly believe had the Batman 2 been ready to shoot last year, it would have shot last year. And we wouldn't have even had to have this conversation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't ready. For whatever reason, whether it's just that Matt Reeves has been doing other things, whether he just wants to work on the script, whatever, or if he's been asked to stop, like, that's possible too, but nobody's going to tell us that. For whatever reason, it wasn't ready to go. And so we wait. And I feel like they've now waited too long.
Yes.
And it still might happen, sure. But I think what you're getting at, Brendan, is like the rest of the universe has moved on. And now we've got this weird outlier that's like kind of alive, but only half,
Yeah.
and it could go either way. But I feel like, all right, let's take them at their word. Let's take them at the word that the script wasn't ready. Matt Reeves wanted more time on the script. Well, at that point, you know what? You snooze, you lose. You waited too long. The train has left the station, and like, you got no one to blame but yourself.
Mm. Yeah. And by the time we do get, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm interested to see where it goes. I am, genuinely am. And I loved the Penguin series. Who knew? Like, I didn't think I'd like it. I genuinely loved it. But yeah, like, the Batman 2 should have been ready to go. The Penguin series should have come out, had its run. The Batman 2 should have been in cinemas the following month or something, like, carried off the back of the success of that show. That's not what's going to happen. By the time it comes out, we would have had Superman. We would have had Supergirl.
We'll have Clayface. We'll have a Lantern show.
Yeah, there'll be all these things building towards the actual, the quote unquote real DC universe that is launching. Like, I'm just, even me, who is interested to see where it goes, not excited, but interested. The interest is only going to hold for so long, like, by the time it comes out, will it not just be me? Will it be the rest of the world going, okay, but that's not, where's the Batman that we're waiting for, that hopefully will have been teased? You're just splitting and confusing your own audience, and yeah, what a mess.
Well, and I think that's totally fair too, is that what a mess. And when James Gunn and Peter Safran had that event, whatever it was, a month ago, and they talked about how the last DC Connected Universe became such a mess. they want to avoid that with this one. And so,
Not doing a good job.
yeah, but remember, they inherited it. They didn't,
Yeah, no, that's true.
They didn't pick this. They inherited it. And this is the last piece of what they inherited that they're like, what do we do with this?
Mm.
You know, the first movie made enough money that it makes sense to make another one, but it's going to be 5.5 years before we can. So what do we do?
Mm.
And that's where they are, and we'll see how it goes. So, you know, again, I feel for you, Tyler, and I feel for all the people who absolutely love the Reeves verse and want more of it, and they want more of it now. And I feel for you because I've been there with other movies and other versions of things, and it's a bummer that it's this weird limbo right now. And I think that only time will tell. Like, I truly think we're going to hear more of the fate of the Batman Part 2 and the Brave and the Bold by the end of the summer, because I truly think the fate of both of those projects rest in the hands of Superman.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So keep the faith, Tyler. I'm pulling for you. Not necessarily for me. All right, next email here is from Andrew Harris. It says, "Hey, BatCast crew, I've been a long-time listener, and I've only written a few times, but I wanted to say thank you for all that you do. All the hard work you put into this really makes a big difference in my week, and I know for other listeners too. Andy, and I know you've said you will listen to movie scores when reading comics to enhance the experience, so I gave it a try. Turns out this really works for me. Not only does it make it more cinematic, but I have ADHD and 5 kids. 5 kids, whoa, bro. So it helps me focus in on the books while my wife is watching Survivor, and there are 2 iPads playing Roblox, and the dog wants to play, etc., etc. So the question is, do the rest of the guys listen to music while reading comics, and what do you listen to? I found the score to Cape Crusader is the right fit for a lot of the time. Andy, I know you said you weren't a big fan of the noir and subdued melodies, but they aren't too distracting, and they add the perfect atmosphere for a Batman comic. Okay, thank you guys again. Hope your recording is going smoothly and you're having a great time doing it. I know we all will once we get to hear it. Hashtag confirmed, Andrew." I love the throwback to hashtag confirmed. Thank you, Andrew. Just to clarify my thoughts on the Caped Crusader score. I didn't say I didn't like it. I said I wished it had a more recognizable theme, which actually dovetails nicely with when we talked about themes.
Yeah.
But I totally could hear it being perfect while you're reading comics, because it is a little more subtle, you know, and so it could just sort of set the mood. So I think that could work great. For me, honestly, mostly I will just choose the Batman score that I'm feeling that day. But yes, I always listen to movie scores, but most usually Batman scores when I'm reading comics. What about you, Brendan? Do you do this?
Well, famously, I don't read comics.
That's true. That's true.
It's in our group chat.
Let's just say theoretically you were to read a comic book. Let's just say.
Yeah, that's been a bit of a theme in our group chat this week.
Look, the only time you read comics were the new Batman Adventures, and so when you did that, did you listen to music?
Well, it was 1993, so I had to hold the cassette recorder up to the TV, record the Batman theme, and look, the only time I've actively done it was when the first run of 89 comics came out, and I'd listened to the 89 theme. And yeah, I had fun doing it. I actually did it recently, not with a comic, but I actually read Crichton's Jurassic Park novel for the first time. I've watched all the movies, watched all the cartoons and everything. I've never read the original novel, and I did that earlier this year. And a few times, when I'd sit down and read a chapter or two, I'd put on the Jurassic Park score, which was fun, and it does like it. I don't know if it heightens the experience, but it does. It sort of makes you weirdly like zone in a little bit more, just because it, probably the similar effect, I guess, to people who use white noise to go to sleep. Like it just blocks out the world around you just that little bit more. So yeah, I have done it in the past. There are, like, I'm looking forward to, obviously won't do it month to month because that'll just frustrate me, but when Hush 2 is, or at least more, probably 6 to 9 months down the track, I'll probably start reading that, and I might put on some Batman music while I do that, and yeah.
Well, I'm still making my way through Batman Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty close. I think I'm at 75% now. I'm real close. I just need to push through the end so we can finally review it, if you even remember it by then. But obviously, because that is a direct sequel to Batman 89, I have to put on the Batman 89 score when I read it, and it makes all the difference. It totally feels
Which I think I've
perfectly.
done it a few times during Resurrection too, now that you mention it.
Yeah, it's a perfect companion, as it should be. All right, next email here is from Brandon McCabe. It says, "Hey, Bat Crew, I love the show. I was wondering if you've ever seen the YouTube series Bad Man by Pete Holmes. It's really hilarious. My favorite episode is when he's closing the Batwing door, but keeps opening the door to tell Catwoman and Gordon silly things. Check it out. If not, and maybe do an episode on it. Anyways, love y'all. Peace, Brandon." Thanks, Brandon. Isn't Pete Holmes also the one who does the Batman skits where he's like sitting across the table from other Batmen and Jokers and things?
I think
it is too. So I assume it's part of the same series. If it's not, I'm shocked, but I've seen some of those. Most recently,
I just did a quick Google. I think, it's the same. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, I've seen some of those, not all of them. I don't think I've seen this Batwing one that you mentioned, but there was one recently that killed me where he was like dressed as the Bale Batman and he's talking to the Pattinson Batman.
I haven't seen that.
I thought I had sent it to you, Brendan, but maybe I didn't.
Maybe.
It's hysterical. It's really funny. So anyway, but yeah, so I've seen some of what Pete Holmes does with the Batman stuff. It's pretty damn funny. I also saw one with him, and it's like the Joaquin Joker, and Joaquin Joker starts dancing, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm dancing. This is my madness," or something. And he's like, "Sit down. You're making a fool of yourself." Anyway, it's pretty good. So yeah, I've seen some of the stuff. It's pretty funny. I'll have to look for more. I'll send you that one when I find it, Brendan, of him with the Pattinson Batman. But the funny thing is, it's like the Pattinson Batman is like, he's like, I'm plant-based. He's like, sometimes Alfred will make me a nice spicy avocado dip. It's great in the morning. And it's like, what are you talking about? You need protein. And it's pretty damn funny. All right. Next one is from Austin. Austin Hilburn. It says, "Hey, BatCast. I'm not sure if you're aware, but McFarlane Toys has recently lost the license for DC. I believe they have till the end of 2025 to make the last of the figures. He's made a plethora of Batman figures, especially the movie ones, but for some reason, we have not gotten a Panther suit from Batman Forever. Why do you think the majority of the marketing always has Kilmer in the Sonar suit, and so few toys ever feature the Panther suit, despite it being the main suit in the movie? Do you think it could be a rights issue or some sort of licensing issue? Curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Austin." Thank you, Austin. And I mean, we mentioned it briefly earlier. We have the same frustration. We love the Panther suit, and I'm very meh on the Sonar suit.
Yeah. I think with the marketing and stuff, I think it was just because it was a new bat suit, like, with the Ultimate Batman and stuff like that. I think that's why that one got, so much coverage. Because, I mean, the Panther suit, as good as it is just a different take on what had been in the previous two films. So I think that's why. But yeah, I mean, there was the figure that came out like, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so ago. That's okay, but it's like, especially the cowl and stuff, like the detail's not great. I'd love for it to get the McFarlane touch where it's like, really good quality. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't know why the standalone Sonar one that came out's the wrong color. I mean, that pisses me off to no end too.
I know.
The likeness and everything's great, but the color's completely wrong. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think it has anything to do with licensing. Nothing like that. What I think it is kind of what you said, Brendan, is that the Sonar suit only exists in Batman Forever.
Mm-hmm.
It is tied to that movie. The Panther suit is essentially an update of the Batman 89 suit.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. And so I think to make it very, very clear this is a Batman Forever figure, they choose the Sonar suit because it's unmistakable. Whereas the Panther suit, it looks so close to Keaton's where people be like, oh, well, which one is that? I think that's why. I just think that it's because it is so much more obvious the Batman Forever look by using the Sonar suit. But we share your frustration because the Panther suit looks great. And yes, I would like a beautiful McFarlane version. Because like you said, I have the same one you do, Brendan, that came out like 10 years ago. It's like you said, it's fine. It's not bad. But yes, we kind of got cheated out of a good one with the last wave of Batman Forever figures from McFarlane.
And it doesn't have the nipples on it.
I know, which was
not
bullshit.
screen accurate.
Yep. Like, what are you even doing if you're not putting the nipples on it? Like, why bother? All right, next email is from our old pal Stuart from Guernsey. It says, according to Apple Podcasts, March marked 10 years since I started listening to the show. I can't believe it's been this long. So much has changed in all our lives in that time. This podcast and the whole network have been my escapism from day-to-day life and a happy place to go when things are not so great or if I'm having a bad day. I can put on a podcast, and for that hour plus, I'm in a happy place. Also, I know you don't cover comics as much these days, but will you be covering Hush 2, or at least the first issue? I'm very intrigued to hear what you guys think. Anyway, hope you're doing well. I'm looking forward to the summer movie preview on RF for RM, Stuart. Thanks, Stuart. Wow. Well, happy 10-year anniversary, Stuart. And that's wild, but you're right, man. What a journey! How lives have changed in that time, in the past decade. But I really appreciate all your kind words here. I'm glad that our shows can pick you up when you're down and give you a distraction when you need it. And we appreciate your constant support for 10 years. You know, you've been so supportive, so nice, so kind, always sending nice messages. And I hope you know it's appreciated. So thank you, Stuart, and hope you're doing well. As far as Hush 2, yeah, I would love to do that. I haven't read it yet because I think it just came out, didn't it? It's out, right?
The first one came out like, I want to say last week.
I think it was last week. So yes, I've been meaning to read it. I have not read it, but I am also intrigued to see what it's going to be like. Thoughts, Brendan?
Yeah, like I said before, like I'm keen to read it. I just, the month-to-month thing, I either forget about it or I lose track, or it's just one of those things too where you know, you go to read one, you're like, what the hell happened last month? And then, you sort of have to reread and it sort of becomes a bit like homework. For this one, I really just want to sit down and enjoy it. And that's why I said, I think I'm going to wait till, maybe the 9-month mark to catch up with the monthlies, or just wait till it's all out and just sit down and read it in one sort of graphic novel form. Because I mean, I know it's a bad example of it, but the last time I tried to do month to month was with the first Batman 89. And we all know the scheduling of that thing wasn't month to month, and it just ended up giving me the shits. So,
and the next one, this new one's even worse.
Yeah,
they still haven't wrapped it up.
Yeah.
They still haven't wrapped it up. We've got the first 5 issues, and the 6th issue doesn't come out for another couple months. Like, I did the math, and it's like to do the 6 issues of its Batman 89 Echoes, it was like 15 months, something insane.
Jesus. And that's the thing. I don't, just to clarify too, I don't dislike comics. I love comics. It's just the month to month thing. It just, it annoys me. But then to be honest too, like in terms of like the current comics, like I haven't heard anything good for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it's been a long time since I've heard anything that's made me want to dive back in. I did read the first issue of Detective when Tom Taylor took over, and it was great. But again, I'm sort of waiting for them to do a collection to actually sit down and read it. And in the last 18 months, I've become a real book reader. So I've been going through like 4 to 5 novels a month for the last 15 16 months. So I just don't really have the time when it comes to sit down and read a monthly issue of something I'm going to forget straight away or by the time the next issue comes out. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it. But yes, Hush 2, now that it's out, I need to check it out. And same, like I dip in and out when I hear good things, but I do need to start catching up on the new Detective because I've heard it's good, which is exciting.
Yeah.
All right. One last email here from Brian B. It says, "Hey guys, hope things are going well as we get to the quarter mark of 2025. Growing up, my two favorite heroes were Spider-Man and Batman. Lately, there have been multiple big swings to make shows that were completely different than previous incarnations. While there have been huge successes like Cape Crusader and Friendly Neighborhood, which are great, there have also been some clunkers with both going a different route. If you were in charge of these characters, would you go with the big swing route or the normal route? Personally, I think sometimes you want a bacon cheeseburger and fries and a shake and would just do the normal route. Secondly, with John Carpenter getting a star on the Walk of Fame, what is your Mount Rushmore of Carpenter performances? I'll add that you can't go with one actor for two roles. I would say Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance from Halloween, Kurt Russell from Escape from New York, and Sam Neill for In the Mouth of Madness. Also, were there any that you think hurt the films? I would say John Stockwell from Christine and Jameson Parker from Prince of Darkness, even though I respect the mustache. As always, thanks for the hard work, and I hope things are going well, Brian. Thanks, Brian. All right, so Batman and Spider-Man, you're saying that some shows have been taking big swings and doing things very differently, which can sometimes work, sometimes not, and you're asking, what would we do if we were in charge? Brendan, thoughts?
I mean, I can only speak to the Batman side of things. And it's just TV shows that we're talking about?
Yeah, so he's talking about like animated shows.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, obviously Cape Crusader was the most recent Batman animated show, and to me, it was really good. I mean, it did change some things, but I think it was the first show in a long time to actually get, Batman. Bruce was a bit different, the way he treated Alfred and everything, but like in terms of Batman, I think they got it right. So yeah, I don't really have any major complaints when it comes to Batman, but I do know what you mean. You don't really need to reinvent the wheel every time, but then you don't want to just give people more of the same. So, I mean, yeah, you want to sort of stay as close to, like you said, sort of the cheeseburger and fries and a milkshake as possible, and not throw tofu in there. And that's the thing, and I think that's why people keep making the creative choices. I don't want to say they're mistakes, but I think why we see a lot of the different things that we do is because there is no easy way to do it. So that's why we get what we get. So, I mean, yeah, look, I mean, if I was in charge of like doing a Batman project, I would just be like, so Batman the Animated Series, right? We don't want to just reboot that, but we want to sort of go as close to that as we can, but do our own thing. And honestly, I think taking that approach is how you get something like Cape Crusader to be perfect. Because as I said, it's at the time, like, to me, it's the closest we've had to the animated series since the animated series. We've had, and there's been some other really good shows in there. I think they've all had their merits. The one, I keep forgetting the name, the one that had Katana in it and stuff. Like, I think it went
Beware the Batman.
Yeah, like it went too far in an opposite direction. And I watched it, but even for me, I'm just like, this is not what I want from a Batman show, like animated or otherwise. Things got too unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I, in terms of Batman, I think they've actually done the right thing of late. I have no skin in the game with Spider-Man. I haven't watched a Spider-Man cartoon since that computer animated one that came out sort of between Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 back in the early to mid 2000s. So yeah.
Well, I will say, I mean, first, I will agree with what Brendan said, is that most of the Batman shows from Batman the Animated Series till Cape Crusader and everything in between, I've at least liked, I think, all of those shows and loved a lot of them. But I do think that almost every one of them post animated series kind of went off the beaten path and tried to do its own thing. And again, because I like or love those shows, I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. But I feel like if you were to do a new Batman animated series today, 2025, going classic and traditional would actually be going off the beaten path, because it's been over 25 years since we've had that.
Mm-hmm.
So that would actually, the most extreme thing you could do right now is to do something traditional, because every show has tried to mix it up in some way or another, including Cape Crusader. And I like that show, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's been over 25 years since we've got a very traditional Batman animated show. So I think that I would do that, because it's been forever since we've had that. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity in that for younger audiences these days.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably goes the same for Spider-Man. Like you said, Brendan, I'm not paying as much attention to the animated side of Spider-Man, but probably the same. But yeah, I think that, if it were up to me and they're like, you want to do a new Batman animated series, I would pitch a pretty traditional Batman animated series. I would do a completely different art and animation style than Batman the Animated Series. I would do something closer to a Young Justice, or maybe the Super Sons movie, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd make it more of a Bat Family ensemble, but they would still be in Gotham. They would still be fighting the Rogues Gallery. They would still be meeting Commissioner Gordon on rooftops. There would be a Batmobile. Like I would want to do, that's what I would do if it were up to me, which is pretty traditional, but also we've never seen that. So
yeah.
And then John Carpenter finally got a star on the Walk of Fame. I couldn't be happier. No man deserves it more. So a Mount Rushmore of 4 John Carpenter performances.
This
First
is
of
going
all,
to be all you, dude. Like, you're
Okay.
a much bigger Carpenter fan than I am.
Well, first of all, Brian's list is great. I mean, it's really hard to fight you on this list. So Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance from Halloween, Kurt Russell from Escape from New York, and Sam Neill for In the Mouth of Madness. Love it. No notes. That's great. So how would I try? I mean, I would also have to do Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. I would have to for those two. Just to mix it up from yours, Brian, I would still keep Kurt Russell, because you've got to. Kurt Russell and John Carpenter go together like pork and beans, peanut butter and jelly. You've got to put them together. But I would go with Kurt Russell from The Thing.
That was what I was going to say. That was the one input I had, was I thought Kurt Russell from The Thing.
Yeah. And then for my wild card, I love your choice of Sam Neill. I am going to say Jeff Bridges from Starman. Have you ever seen Starman, Brendan?
No.
It's terrific, but sadly kind of forgotten these days. It's really good. And yeah, more people should watch Starman. But yeah, he was nominated for an Oscar for that, and rightfully so. It's really good.
Okay. Because I mean, yeah, like I've seen obviously Halloween, The Fog, The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China. He directed that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Ooh, that it might be that Kurt Russell one too. I kind of have to. Oh, I might have to pick Jack Burton from Big Trouble. Otherwise, my wife will divorce me.
So yeah, like I've seen a small handful of Carpenter films. And Christine. I have seen Christine too.
I honestly, I would pick the main character from Christine. He's really good. I can't remember the actor's name right now, but yeah, he does a really great performance and transformation throughout that movie. As for performances in Carpenter movies that didn't work for me, nothing jumps to mind, if I'm being honest. Not really. I'm sure there are some, but nothing jumps to mind. I don't know, maybe Daryl Hannah in Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Most people forget that was John Carpenter. Have you ever seen that one, Brendan?
Don't think so. That was Chevy Chase, wasn't it?
Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah. It's very
Is
random.
it a comedy?
It's kind of a comedy. It's not bad. It's just kind of random.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. Congrats to John Carpenter for his star on the Walk of Fame. But that's it. We're going to close the Wayne Manor mailbox. Thanks to everybody who sent those in. We love it. We love hearing from you guys. We love your questions, your brain teasers, your thoughts, your opinions. So thank you for sharing that with us. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. It is worth noting that next week I'm going on vacation. So it's probably going to be 2 weeks before I'm back to do another one of these. So you got plenty of time to listen to this and write into the Wayne Manor mailbox. But Brendan, thanks for making the time today. And I'm glad we got to catch up on some stuff.
Not a problem, my friend. Not a problem at all.
We got to talk Superman and, drop a couple flowers in Crime Alley for Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Like you said, you take the good with the bad.
Yep. But anyway, anywhere else that our friends at home can find you these days?
You can find me in the Real Fans groups on Facebook and logging movies on Letterboxd.
Awesome. Love that for you. Well, I already told you guys where to find me, so thank you as always for joining us. Thanks for downloading or streaming the show. Please do follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. That would be awesome. Something else you can do to help us out that doesn't cost a penny is to just rate and review us where you get your podcasts. A nice positive rating, 5 stars, goes a long way, and it would really help us out. Helps the algorithm recommend and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's super easy. It doesn't cost a penny. Again, you can find the show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. And the email address for the Wayne Manor mailbox, again, is holybatcast at rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaur Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And that will do it. So on behalf of Brendan, I've been Andy. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. Now, how do I transition to something else? I don't know.
I don't know.
So Val's off to the sky. Do you know who else flies in the sky? Superman.